Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I am doing fantastic because just last night we got some of the biggest news I think we're gonna get this year. Arguably bigger news than Helldivers coming to Xbox. Because in case you guys haven't heard by now, it was recently confirmed by a new job listing at PlayStation that they will be taking a much stronger multi-platform approach, including Nintendo Switch and Xbox. As you can see right here, according to job listing, Sony to expand PlayStation Studios titles across Steam, Epic, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. And then if we go down to the replies, you will play a critical leadership role in shaping and executing the global commercial strategy for PlayStation Studios software titles across all platforms beyond PlayStation hardware, including Steam, Epic Games Store, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. This role is accountable for optimizing title profitability, ensuring cross-function alignment, and leading a high-performing team focused on multi-platform expansion, mid-range commercial planning, and platform partner management. The important part there is the high-performing team focused on multi-platform expansion, which basically translates to more games besides just Helldivers are coming to Xbox. And PlayStation has basically said themselves with this that they're going full third party. Even though we already knew this, they finally actually spelled it out for people. And not to jump the gun too much or anything, but could you just imagine if they announced a game like Spider-Man for Xbox at Gamescom? The internet would lose their collective minds. But whatever, I'm getting ahead of myself. Today, we are just here to talk about the absolute breakdown that is happening as a result of this. Because as I'm sure you can all imagine, the PlayStation fanboys on Twitter are just in complete despair over this. Now, I'm sure this video is probably going to do pretty well, so if you're new here, welcome. First of all, sub if you'd like to see more of this kind of content. Second of all, I think I need to clarify this. When I am talking about PlayStation fanboys, I am talking about a small group of people who are terminally online, who unironically get upset at the idea that more people get to play the games they supposedly love so much. If you are a normal PlayStation gamer who is not bothered by this, I am not referring to you. Okay? Do we have that clear? Good. I know I'm still gonna get comments on this video because people couldn't even be bothered to watch this far, but whatever. So, the reactions I've been seeing to this news, there's two sides to it. You've got the people who depressingly accept the truth that PlayStation is third party, and then there's the people who are still moving the goalpost and saying this doesn't count as full third party. And I'm not even kidding when I say there's a tweet in here where a dude literally compares the quote-unquote death of PlayStation to the deaths of Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan. And no, I'm not kidding. Stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this. And we're starting off strong with Nib. A job listing at Sony seeks a role to assist the commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio titles beyond PS hardware, including Steam, Epic Games Store, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. There's no mention of being limited to live service games. It does, however, imply a staggered, not full multi-platform day-date release strategy like Xbox is pursuing. Though in this industry, things can quickly evolve. Oversee the out-of-year, mid-range commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio titles across all non-PlayStation platforms. We'll be curious to see how this develops over the coming years and whether PlayStation stick to a careful curated hybrid strategy Herman Holst announced only a few weeks ago or something broader. If Xbox's new console is a hybrid PC, PlayStation's games would also be on there anyway. Dude, I actually can't. I cannot with this guy. The constant goalpost moving is actually something that needs to be studied. Now, apparently, PlayStation pursuing multi-platform by their own words does not mean full third party. Even though they are literally releasing games on Xbox, Nintendo, and PC. You can't make this up. It just keeps moving. The definition of full third party for these guys will never be concrete. PlayStation could literally go day and date on Xbox and they still wouldn't call it full third party. Which, by the way, you know, Marathon, if it ever even actually comes out, is going to Xbox Day and Date, just saying. But I'm sure somebody's going to be quick to say that that doesn't count because it was already in production or something. Okay, bud. All right. And then it gets even better because Gaz replies with a screenshot of one of Nib's older tweets, and I say older, it was like 2 weeks ago, where he said they just get it, and then talks about how Herman Holst explains why exclusivity is important to PlayStation. And then Nib replies, for the record, this strategy wouldn't compromise that. If games are still being made from the ground up for PlayStation hardware without any other hardware or lowest common denominator consideration, and only later ported to other platforms, you still get exclusive design benefits. Though a staggered or other type of multi-platform strategy could risk capitulating the brand or console market share, depending on whether it de-incentivizes or cannibalizes the platform. Okay, I genuinely have to ask this, because these guys love to use this argument that, oh, well, if it's going to PlayStation only first, there's exclusive design benefits. What? Exclusive design benefits? Freaking DualSense support? Hundreds, if not thousands of third-party games that release on Xbox and PlayStation on the same day have DualSense support. What exclusive benefits could you possibly be talking about? Then again, this is the same guy who, I'm not even joking, thought that game developers for PS5 actually made the games on a PS5 and not on a PC. Like, that should tell you everything you need to know about this dude. He tries to act smart, but in reality, he's just letting ChatGPT type everything out for him. Okay, so remember when I mentioned that there's gonna be that tweet comparing the death of PlayStation to other people who just recently passed? Well, here it is. That generic Eric says, Ozzy died, Hogan died, PlayStation died. What a week. You know, I've said it before, but I'm gonna say it again. I am a huge advocate for making console fanboyism considered a mental illness, because only somebody truly messed up in the head could look at what's happening with PlayStation and say, you know what, this is the death of the company, and this is on the same level of Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan dying. These people are truly sick in the head. So what happens now? So PlayStation's dead, according to Eric. So does he quit gaming? Because, I mean, that would be preferable. Or, more likely, does he keep gaming on PlayStation and keep buying stuff because he doesn't want to put his money where his mouth is? You know, he'll just keep giving money to that supposed dead platform. Okay, bud. Although, like I just said, please do quit gaming. It would be a much better place without you. I don't mind some toxicity in gaming, but the level of toxicity that Eric brings is actually unreal. Alrighty, who do we have next? Oh god, it's Blue Urkel. Alright. Looking like Nintendo and PC are the move. PlayStation's lost the plot. Xbox failed as a console. It is what it is. What plot? Like, actually, what plot? The exclusivity plot? Guess what, buddy? That's been dying for years. You want to make the most money? You gotta publish your games on the most amount of platforms possible. It's not rocket science. Also, please don't come to PC. We don't want you here. Please just go to Nintendo and have fun paying $70 for 30 FPS games like Borderlands 4. Oh my god. It really just is funny how all it takes for these guys to abandon their console of choice is for them to announce they're going more multi-platform. It really is insane, and it proves they don't care about the console. They don't actually like it. They like the fact that there were games on there that only they could play. And now that other people get to play it, they're upset by this, and they're gonna leave the console because of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I will always advise people to move to PC. The console market is not in the best place right now, but that has nothing to do with the fact that games are going to other platforms, and more so to do with, you know, price gouging, paying to play online, among many other things. So yeah, if you're on console, please come over to PC. We welcome you. Unless you're one of these idiots, then we don't. Alrighty, who do we have next? Nicola says, Lego Horizon is coming to Xbox for those who can't wait to know. Oh my god, dude, I can just see the tears streaming down his face onto his phone screen as he was typing this out. Which, by the way, I'd just like to point out, this tweet is now deleted. You can't find it anymore. Oh my god, I can't even imagine how angry and depressed he must have been typing this out. Yeah, guys, Lego Horizon's coming. Congratulations, idiots. Only to be absolutely roasted in the replies. Because guess what? Surprise, surprise, this makes you sound like a salty dick. And the fact that he already deleted it tells me that, yeah, he was really angry when he made this. He made it in a fit of rage, which, by the way, I've made this PSA a lot on this channel, but if you're like angry or in like some extreme mood, sadness, anger, whatever it may be, don't just go post stuff online out of impulse. You'll most likely regret it, just like Nicola is doing right here. But don't you worry, he made another equally salty tweet to make up for this one, advising PlayStation on what games they should hand over to the competition can earn you a minimum of $246K a year. Must be nice. Dude, oh my god, this is actually incredible. I love this. This is the most salty I think I've ever seen this dude. But dude, you're phrasing this completely wrong. You say they're handing it over to the competition. Instead, you should say, advising PlayStation on what games they should publish on other platforms to rake in millions of more dollars every year can earn you a minimum of $246K. Because that's what's really happening. They're not handing over their games to the competition. That's the big thing. These guys always act like the other platforms are getting these games for free and PlayStation's just getting nothing in return. You do realize that people on Xbox and PC still have to buy these games and give PlayStation money, right? PlayStation's not just giving these away. They're still making hundreds of millions of dollars every year. And potentially this multi-platform push could push them into the billions of dollars on PlayStation markets. Hell, technically they already saw, what, over $2 billion on PC in 2022? But yeah, let's portray this as they're giving it away. Okay, bud. Just go kiss your PS5 Pro again. For those of you who don't know, he literally did do that. If I can find the image, I will, and I'll put it up here. Alrighty, next up, Frit tweeted out saying, never bet against the stick. And this guy replied, it's just going to be games as a service and maybe Horizon. You're consistently wrong. They're still doing it, everybody. They're still saying, oh, it's just games as a service. It's just gonna be Horizon. Oh no. They're about to go the same way that the Xbox guys went last year. It's only 4 games, guys. Don't worry. It's not gonna be anything beyond that. It's just games as a service. It's not that big of a deal. Shut the hell up. You have no idea if it's just gonna be games as a service or not. And honestly, think about it. Like, let's just say they only do games as a service for a little bit. Do you really think they're not gonna put their single player games over on Xbox if their games as a service games do well enough? Like, do you really think that? Because if you do, you're in for a very rude awakening. And then what's gonna happen if a game like Spider-Man or God of War does go to Xbox? Then it's gonna be, oh, well, it's our sloppy seconds. It's only old games. The goalpost will continue to shift. All of these guys will realize what's happening. It's just some of them are realizing it faster than others. This guy is on the slower end of the realization. Alrighty, next up, we have a little bit of a thread here. So Gara tweeted out and said, someone check up on your local PlayStation pony. They're really quiet right now. And then this guy replied, holy crap, Nintendo better have taken full notes. This is not how to sell a console, PlayStation edition. Xbox edition sold separately. And then this guy named Virgil just replies, Nintendo game on PC. I don't know why, I could just imagine him saying it that way. And then the guy replies again and says, no, that should never happen. PC is one of the primary things ruining gaming. And then Gara replies, womp womp, all your games belong to us. And then this guy replies again and says, so you just hate gaming? No, Gara doesn't hate gaming, but evidently you do. How is PC ruining gaming? Gaming literally would not exist without PCs. Unless you subscribe to the nib philosophy, where apparently PlayStation games are made on a PlayStation. But that's a genuine question. How is PC ruining gaming? Like, actually how? You could argue the console market is ruining gaming more so because they normalize $70 games, pay to play online, mid-gen refreshes that barely do anything, paying to upgrade your games from one generation to the next so you can get better frame rates and resolutions. Like, please genuinely explain to me what PC is doing for gaming that's so terrible and that's ruining it. No? You have nothing? Alright, cool. Thought so. Alright, now these next two are replies to a separate post that was talking about this job listing. It just basically said the same thing that Hasdor's posted. This isn't a good sign. PS is going to fold and you can say bye to any potentially good future games. It's pretty much the beginning of the end of creative development and software made for adults. Okay, I'm sorry. How is the end of exclusivity equated to the end of good games? Does this dude think the only game games that are good are exclusive, because guess what, dude? You have Johnny Silverhand as your profile picture, so I can only assume you like Cyberpunk. Guess what? Cyberpunk released on almost every platform. Not to mention, all of the best games of this generation have not been console exclusive. They've been multi-plat. Expedition 33, Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, Helldivers 2, all of these amazing games were not exclusive. In fact, I don't think there's been a single game developed by PlayStation this generation that's been truly amazing, except for maybe Astrobot. Nintendo is the only one that's putting out absolute bangers, and even then, that has nothing to do with the fact that the games are exclusive. It just so happens that Nintendo knows how to make some damn good games. Can't wait to play Donkey Kong Bonanza next year on my Steam Deck when the emulators go up. Alrighty, next one. If that's true, then why is Google telling me this just 10 minutes ago? So who's right, who's wrong? I think we found it, guys. We found the Mariana Trench of human intelligence. This dude is using Google AI as opposed to an actual job listing from PlayStation. You know, Google AI, the same AI that said that William Backflip invented the backflip, and that he was exiled by John Frontflip. The same AI that told people to make soup using mercury. The same AI that told people if they're feeling depressed that they should jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. That is more trustworthy than an actual objective job listing that just got posted. Jesus Christ on a cracker. And it shouldn't surprise anybody to know, this guy is apparently a huge fan of X-Fault Gaming's content, which, if you know anything about him, that's really all you need to know about this guy to know that, yeah, we're dealing with somebody very intelligent. Dear viewers, this is why you don't do your research with AI, because it will literally just spit out anything. Then again, aren't there studies coming out that people who rely on AI are literally, like, statistically less intelligent than normal people or something? So I don't know. I think we found one of those people. All right, and finally, to end off this video, our good old friend, the Red Dragon. There is a very good chance that Fable releases on PlayStation at launch. There is 0 chance that Wolverine releases on Xbox Series at launch. That's all you need to know. They are not the same, not even close. Again, the goalpost shifting. Now it's not about, oh, well, these games will never release on Xbox. Now it's, oh, these games won't release on Xbox day one. Dude, just get out of here with your BS. PlayStation will be releasing their games on Xbox day one at some point in the future. It might not be for the next couple years, but it will happen, and you know it. Stop trying to damage control this. Just embrace it. Like, I don't know why these guys treat this like a bad thing. Games going to other platforms is a very good thing. More games for more people. More money for more games. Jesus Christ, people, get it together. But yeah, anyway, guys, with all that being said, that is all I've got for this video. It's really funny. Me and Alex were just talking to each other yesterday, complaining about how dry July is outside of what happened with Helldivers. And then a couple hours later, this news comes out. I guess complaining does get you what you want, so take that for what it's worth. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where PlayStation's multi-platform strat goes in the future. I know it's only gonna get better for most gamers and worse for the fanboys. And you best believe I'll be covering that news as it comes out. So with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, especially because we're so close to 17,000 subs. Thank you all so much for the ridiculous support. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for Salt streams, and join us every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the gaming channel for gaming streams, and I will catch you all next time.